All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Congressman David Kustoff from Tennessee, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. What have you heard so far from the RJC Summit that piques your interest, and what more do you want to hear in order to, persuade Republican Jews that this is a massive election here and you need to get out the vote?
Well, a couple of things. One is I've been really impressed with the energy and the unity that we've seen from everybody who's been participating here. And from the speakers have all been saying exactly the right things, and that is how important it is for Jewish people in this nation to support Republicans, especially with everything that's happened since October the 7th. Our people, and when I say our people, I mean the Republicans in Congress have been pretty consistent up and down the line, and that is we are strongly supportive of Israel. We realize that Israel is our greatest and most important ally in the Middle East, and we want to do what we can to support Israel. And again, for the people who are here from all across the nation, those who are older, those who are younger, there really has been a lot of energy. And if I can just drill down one more moment on that, the students who are here, the college students, they are really engaged. And I'm really impressed by that.
It's funny you mentioned that, because there had been this fear for quite some time, and it was borne out in statistics that there was this movement away from Judaism for a lot of college students. They get to college, they drift away, they don't come back. There's been the development of what's been known as the October 7th Jew, who has suffered since then on campus, in their neighborhoods, with this rise in anti-Semitism. Tell me about your personal experiences dealing with those students, if you can, if you've come across them within your work, and kind of what guidance or so you've offered for them in a post-October 7th world.
So I serve on the House Ways and Means Committee, which obviously has jurisdiction over tax, trade, Social Security, healthcare jurisdiction. We've had a number of hearings where we've had college students who come and testify, along with members of the ADL, et cetera. And I'm saying that what is obvious, there's real fear among these students, these Jewish students on college campuses, going to class, walking across campus. That's unthinkable. Who would have thought that before October the 7th? We know this. We know that anti-Semitism has existed going back to the beginning of time, but it's really become a lot more prevalent since October the 7th. And so, from our standpoint, what are the things that we can do? In my remarks last night, I talked about sponsoring anti-Semitism resolutions that condemn, obviously, anti-Semitism, but also equates anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism. And working on legislation that takes away tax-exempt status from nonprofit groups that give material support to terrorist organizations or those who support terrorism. Should be a no-brainer, right? But to have Congress definitively speak, I think, speaks volumes. But again, I see these college students who are here, frankly, in greater numbers than I've seen at any other RJC conference. I think that you have a lot of American Jews who went to sleep on October the 7th, probably as progressives, and they woke up on October the 7th and they said, I don't identify that way anymore.
I want to press you on something here, because we talked about it a couple years ago before the last midterm election, and it's still relevant now. There are 20-some Jewish House members. There are, I believe, 9 Jewish senators on the Democratic side.
Right.
On the Republican side, 2 Jewish House members, yourself and Max Miller, no Jewish senators. There's a lot made by President Trump and other high-level Republicans about, you got to be crazy, you got to be nuts if you're an American Jew to vote Democrat. It doesn't make any sense, and yet there are so few Jewish Republicans in office right now. How do you change that so that as a Jewish Republican or even as a Jewish Democrat, you can see somebody in your district, you can see somebody in your state in a governmental position, and you can look up to that and say that person can represent my interests?
A couple things. One is, at least on the House side, we will be electing another Republican Jewish member from Texas, Craig Goldman. So we're going to grow by 50%. It's significant. I did get to speak to a group of college students yesterday, and I was impressed with their questions. I was impressed with their engagement, and I told them, I'm looking at you men and women, you young men and women, and you guys could be me one day. You will be me one day if you want to. And so obviously we've got to do a better job recruiting Jewish Republicans to run for the House and the Senate. But I think that comes after this next election in 2024.
Well, I mean, what changes after that?
Pardon me?
What is, when you say comes after 2024,
well,
what changes?
A few things. We've got to get better on the recruitment side. And I think we can do that. But again, this engagement from young people. After the November elections, I mean, we all know in presidential elections what the split has been for Republicans voting in these presidential elections on Jewish, Democrat, Republican. I think we improved that in November, but we've got to do better on the recruitment and going directly and talking to Jewish people across the nation.
Israel and anti-Semitism, Republicans say for them it's a winning strategy. It's a winning formula. It's not only the right formula morally, ethically, it's a winning formula politically. At the same token, it can be dangerous sometimes to make Israel and to make anti-Semitism into a political football of sorts. Where does that line get drawn, in your opinion, from wanting to hammer home the message that you're the stronger party on these issues without making it a partisan issue altogether?
It shouldn't be political at all. But I mentioned last night, for example, the anti-Semitism resolution that I worked so hard on last year. And I did it because I wanted to send a message, the nation should send a message that members of the House of Representatives condemn anti-Semitism. And the good news is it passed. The bad news is out of 400 plus votes, it got 311 yes votes. There were roughly 11 no votes, but there were 92 people that said, I'm going to vote present. Now, to me, if you go into that chamber, in the House of Representatives chamber, and you vote present, you're voting no. And to me, to see the Democrats that went in there, led by Gerald Nadler and others, who voted present, that's wrong. So the Jewish people across this nation can look and see where the Republicans stood and where the Democrats stood. I didn't want to make that political. It wasn't political. It was meant to be showing that the House of Representatives, a majority, condemn anti-Semitism, but people can read into it what they want to read into it.
Congressman Kustoff, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.